Welcome back. So we're still within range. The 16 days of activism, especially as it concerns women, violence against women and girls. We have a guest in the studio. She's of the Executive Director, Global Initiative for Development Care of Women and Youth. That's GIDCOVE. Mrs. Ngozi Ebo, good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome.
How do you do? Just give us a background of the 16 days of activism. I understand that is, of course, a call to action as regards the awareness for how women are treated in the society. But again, share some thoughts regarding that.
Thank you so much. 16 Days of Activism is all about heightened awareness on the fact that 1 in 3 women globally face one form of violence or the other in their lifetime. It's quite alarming. The figures keep escalating. So 16 Days of Activism is just a call to everyone to say, can you check your life and be sure that you're not in any way aiding or abetting this kind of evil? Heightened activities, more sensitizations, more talks, more just do whatever you can to create awareness. It's just 16 days of creation of awareness, beginning from the 25th of November, and it usually ends on the 10th of December, which is the International Human Rights Day. So it's all about heightened awareness. Those words are
right. How much of this initiative or this call to action is directed towards the men? Because most of this violence are actually done by the men.
Yes, we have what we call he for she. These are men who identify with women, and for us in GIDCOVE, for instance, we're having a whole lot of town hall engagements to engage with men. We call it Men Engage. Let's get to the table. Let's find out. Let's hear from your angle. Now, gender-based violence does not cease to be gender-based violence when a woman violates a man. Women still abuse men, and it is still gender-based violence. The reason we focus on women and girls is that the statistics are higher with women and girls. So we also want to hear the voices of men. What is it that you don't like? What triggers you? How can we also help you? Because no one actually stands on one leg. You need 2 legs to stand. So women alone can't do it. Men alone can't do it.
So coming back to the families, what are the preventive measures you think that should be put in place by both men and women to prevent this violence, gender-based violence generally?
Okay, for our family setting, some of our cultural norms have not been so helpful. When a man comes into the family, or when a boy is giving birth to, everyone rejoices. The boys do football, the girls do kitchen roles. Okay, can we take off those roles and just train your children as children? Girls do football now. Who says guys can't cook? One of the greatest caterers we have in Enugu City is a young man. So let's take off these gender roles and train children without having those gender roles. Then in a family where you have those ones we call house helps, can you take off that branding around them? They are human beings created just like your children too were created by God. And no one gives birth to a child and says, okay, after giving birth to my child, I'm going to take this child to whoever for this child to live with. Circumstances and situations may have warranted that. So don't aggravate the matter by having a certain treatment for the one you call the house help and having a different treatment again for the one that you call your child. You really don't know who would actually help you at the end of this whole thing. And one thing we don't hammer on when it comes to gender-based violence, one of the key issues there is empathy. See the other person as though that person is you, and what you wouldn't want to be done to that person or to yourself, then don't do it to that person. So let's get back to the family and take off those rules. Train children normally so that you could even give birth to a child at 16. He's cooking and he's making money out of it. You could give birth to a girl child at 15, 16. She's playing football. So let's take off those roles. And who says that the world revolves around just one gender? No, it doesn't. It just does not.
Right. Do you think our cultural norms, our tradition, especially in Igbo land, I just want to narrow it down to the southeast. Do you think it's in any way breathing gender-based violence?
Yes.
How and which one?
One of the aspects of our culture that, for me, I see it as an impediment to issues, taking off the barriers, okay, for gender, is even if I were the president of Nigeria and I am as female as I am now, in Igbo land, I cannot break kola nuts. It doesn't even matter if I am a chief. You know, some women are female chiefs. It doesn't matter the level that female chief has attained. She just cannot do that. So why is it so? Why do we have a different treatment for a man and a different treatment for a woman? I'm not saying that any woman should just go breaking kola nut, but the female chiefs who should have that prerogative of breaking kola nut should be allowed to do it, but they won't let them do it, and they say it's culture. So I don't know. That's one that is so striking. I had to moderate a session few weeks ago, and while moderating the session, we missed the kola nut session. Oh, come and see the opera in the room. I had to kneel down. I actually had to kneel down because we had chiefs, we have traditional rulers in the room. In just to appease them, I knelt down to appease them, to beg them. Oh, we are sorry. And at that point, I said, okay, who is the person I should hand over to? I had to hand it over to the chairman of the occasion. So why is the kola nut too sacred for a woman to break? Can we go back and look at the culture and find out why should women who have why give women those titles if you can't let them perform the roles? So this is one very strong. Then the issue of rape, the issue of when a man dies, what happens to the widow? Some people, I heard of a community where a woman was called back, but after 2 years, that she didn't cry when her husband was buried, so she should come and explain what happened to the husband, how the husband died. You hear all manner of things happening, and it's so crazy. And our culture, gives one kind of, I don't know what to call it, a soft landing for people who do this. Someone dies and the brothers come in and tell you that this is our brother's property. You, the woman, and the children, or no, they would accept the children, especially if the children are males. But you, the woman, you were brought from another land. You're not part of this family. And I'm like, wow. This was someone whose bride price was paid. This was someone, maybe there was a court marriage. So the land recognizes the fact that these two are married. And the man happens to die, and someone comes to the woman and says, you're not from this village, you're not from this community, so this is the way we do things and all of that. At times our culture, allows these things to run, and it's not helpful at all.
Do you think that bringing laws, rules and regulation, especially from the constitution, should play a greater role in making sure that this particular menace is being curbed?
Our constitution is not gender sensitive. I keep saying it. There is no constitution for a man different from that of the woman. It's just us having, should I say, the willpower to enforce what is already there. Equal rights, equality. Everyone is equal before the law. That's what the constitution says. A woman goes to bail someone, in a police station, and she's told she's female, she should go and bring a man. It's just us perpetrating this anomaly. For us in Gidkowe, one of the things we're doing, and we are most thankful to the Enugu State government for their support so far, is trying to inculcate gender-based violence prevention into the curriculum of schools within Enugu State. Let's have, because it's difficult to change the mindset of a grown-up adult, but can we work on the psyche of our children from nursery one? In fact, I must say thank you again to the Ministry of Education, the Commissioner, Professor Ndubezemba, who agreed with us that we would infuse gender-based violence prevention from basic 1 up to basic 12. So that's a way of ensuring that the next generation understands empathy, understands inclusion, understands equality and equity. When a child knows what it means to keep boundaries, that's part of what they are taught. When a child knows what it means to say how I feel, not when a child wants to say how he or she feels. Someone raises a cane, shut up, in this class you don't talk. You are making that child to be silent when the child needs to speak out. These are little issues that have to do with gender-based violence that, as we speak, is being inculcated into the curriculum, and we hope it will go a long way to making us have a safer and more inclusive Enugu State.
Do you think women also themselves have a role to play in this particular issue regarding gender-based violence? Because, of course, like you said, the statistics is more against the women than for the men. Do you think women themselves have a role to play, given that sometimes you hear them say things like they're okay with the fact that the husband beats them because they were wrong? You know, you hear that sometimes when some of these things play out. So, do you think women themselves also have a role to play in this regard?
Okay, in two ways. I would say yes, we do have a role to play, and I would encourage every parent, train your children as much as possible. Make sure that your girl child doesn't leave your home without skills. Empower her with skills. Those women who say I'll need to be beaten so that I did wrong, most times they are economically not empowered. An empowered woman, you don't need to beat her. She knows what her rights are. Those ones who will say beat me so that my head would work well, most likely depend totally on that man for almost all their needs and the needs of their immediate family. So it's like, yes, whatever you do is good. Odogu, just do whatever you want to do, as long as I still answer Mrs. I still have access to all that you have. So that is on one hand. Then on the other hand, we have what we call the Umuada system. Most times for some people, I haven't experienced it, but we hear stories of women who, they have to shave their hair. Is the Umuada and all those organizations or associations of women that perpetrate that, because they believe, okay, we did for Mama Nkechi, I was part of those who did, so when it's your turn, we also do for you. I think we should begin to find a way. Then again, let me submit to you that the powers of such women also come from the leadership of men. It is the men that lets them know that this is what you're supposed to do as Umuada. So they just go ahead and do it. So for me, the bottom line is empowerment of a woman. A woman who is empowered knows where the rights of the husband ends and where her own begins. If not, she accepts every nonsense, and she trains her children too to accept every nonsense. And it doesn't make you humble when someone tramples on your rights and you are just keeping quiet. It doesn't make you humble at all.
How much of the empowerment is needed? Because in families where the woman is empowered, you see the table turning around. It happens that the woman becomes the one who violates the man. So how much of empowerment is required?
Okay, so on the other hand, when a woman is empowered, people have different definitions of marriage and what it should be, but the bedrock of a good marriage should be love. I'm not empowered so that I go to the streets and now say I'm the one doing everything. No, 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 that's not empowerment. Empowerment is that I am fully aware of my rights. And when it looks as though it is trampled, I should be able to speak out respectfully, not keep quiet and die in silence because Dibun did, you know, in Igbo land they say once you get married you have won your sackcloth of patience, so you just keep enduring everything. No, on the other hand, a woman who truly loves her man, it's not about whose pay is higher or who does all
Earns more.
yeah, it's about the integrity and the unity of the home, ensuring that the home functions well. We all have our different areas of strengths and weaknesses, and gender doesn't take that away. For me, in my home, my husband is a better person when it comes to keeping money. Yes, yes, yes. He's even a better person when it comes to showing small care. I could just be up like that. I am more of a project person. What do we need to do after this? Let's do this. But at times when he's at home, he's the one who notices some things I don't even notice. It doesn't make him any less, and it doesn't make me superior. It's just how society, you know, society has a way of telling you, you the man, you're the one that is peeling a vegetable. They have turned you to woman wrapper. Then you now start thinking, no, I shouldn't be the one. Are you not supposed to be part of the person eating the food? So let's take away these stereotypes and let people be able to define their marriages and their homes by their own terms.
Some women feels like, you know, some women feel like after violence, when their husband beat them, it makes them come close and it make the bond so stronger between them. Is that true?
No empowered woman would think that way. It's just a way of accepting what has befallen you as your cross, and still fanning the ego of the man so that he keeps providing everything he's providing for you. Maybe he needs to buy you a new car, he takes you out on vacation after beating you, so you're fine because you know that if they take away this man, nothing. But if you can do what that man can do, I bet you that you will not accept beating and call it a way of bringing you together. Is there anything wrong with being a woman? I don't think there is. Adult is adult, male or female. In fact, it takes two consenting adults to have marriage. It means that the woman's brain is supposed to be in order and the man's brain is supposed to be in order. So two persons come together and we say, okay, fine, we are two adults and we want to get into the contract of marriage. It is not a situation where one partner is high and the other one is, you know, the other partner has to drag the other one by the hand and say, okay, rules and regulation, this is where you sit every day, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, all your friends from today. No, that's not marriage, that's slavery. Let's not mistake the two. That's not marriage. Is where people, two persons, allow the God-given potentials in each other to shine, knowing that no one is outshining the other. It's about, you know, the unity of our home. That's what, for me, that's what I see marriage to be. I remember having it was I think it was a protest walk we had sometime in Abuja, and someone watched me on TV and put a call across to my husband and said, have you seen what your wife is doing? My husband was like, what? And he said, she's on TV, he's saying no to gender-based violence, all of this. And I came home and my husband made a statement. He said, I have learned to allow my wife to be all that God has put in her to become. Let our husbands allow us. When we are going beyond the bounds, call us back to order. But don't bottle up somebody because she's a woman, or just confine her to taking care of children alone or cooking your food alone. That's all she can do. It would amaze you that your wife has amazing potentials that you're not allowing the world to see.
Right. I mean, we can talk about this the whole day because it's quite interesting. Let's take an extreme case, because I think that there's some sort of constraint that comes with a woman who knows her right. Say you've been violated at home, you've been beaten, and then the next thing you want to go and report the case. You take him to the police station, you arrest him, you probably even lock him up. What do you think the society would say? You know, so there's scenarios like that. Yeah. So it constrains the woman even if she wants to act and do something, beyond reporting to some of these NGOs or organizations that look after these things. I mean, telling the man that I can lock you up can also make the man, start to rethink his, actions whenever he tries to do that. But I'm wondering whether you think that's a constraint for women, especially in that regard.
Yes, it's a huge constraint, because when you in fact, for some police stations up till now, when you take such cases there, they tell you, madam, go home, it's a family matter. So before you even start all the, madam, go and take care of your home.
Wow.
Now everybody wey married, they come this police station. If everybody wey married, they come here, we no go do any other thing. So that's yeah. For some persons, that's the way it goes in some police stations.
Wow.
So it's a huge constraint, because the woman also thinks, in fact, for a woman to even take her bath and decide to go to police station, she's ready for the worst. Because she knows the implications. She knows that by the time they invite my husband to this police station, marriage has finished. Where else am I going to? I'm ready to now maybe go back to my parents' house, or but it shouldn't really be. And I also think that there are measures that can also be taken before you do the reporting. Watch out for the red flags and begin once you see the red flags on. Don't wait until the big one happens, because when you see the red flags, you could call family, call mother or call someone close to someone to say, please speak to my husband. But when you now see the huge one, please, you need to be alive to do marriage. When you're dead, I can assure you that in less than 3 months of the woman's burial, the man has already seen someone else to get married to. So understand that you need to be alive to do marriage. So if it comes to that extreme case, please report.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you for your
much.
time.
I mean, it's been an amazing time talking about this particular topic. Mrs. Ngozi Ebo, many thanks for your time. I mean, the activities still continues. Can you just, in 1 minute, give us what the activities would look like at the end in the next few days?
Okay, tomorrow we have a media briefing where we'll talk to journalists on the 16 days of activism. We hope it goes viral, and we also hope to have the men engage at the Enugu East Local Government headquarters here in Enugu State. Then schools, we have gender-based violence prevention clubs set up in about 5 schools in Enugu State. These are some of the activities that we are putting together, and being able to also speak to opinion leaders, religious leaders, because we find victimization also coming from the religious circle. Okay, we have groups in churches for married women, for single. What happens when a woman is no more married to the man? Which department does she go to? She goes to the women's group, and someone is eyeing her. A wise woman builds her home, so you didn't build your home, so what are you doing here? So we also need our religious leaders to understand that it may just not be the fault of the woman that she's out of the marriage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ngozi Ebo, Executive Director, Global Initiative for Development Care of Women and Youth, God Kowe. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.